The Fire Within podcast. You need a sustainable plan, the right mindset, and the knowledge and inspiration to stoke the fire within. Just like the phoenix, you can burn your old habits, never turn back, and emerge completely anew. There are no shortcuts.
Welcome, Fire Within community. This is the Fire Within podcast, where we talk about all things health, fitness, and nutrition related. I'm your host, Brandon, with my co-host, Hobo Joe.
Yeah, so it's like the second day of spring, 20 degrees in North Carolina, and my heat's broken, so I'm wearing the gloves with no fingers, and I'm burning a fire barrel in the corner. That's the vibe this morning here in the studio.
It really sets a nice backdrop for our show today, I think.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a gritty, we're getting real today.
Yeah, I think we're going to keep Hobo Joe as a recurring character on the show. And we got a new soundboard. Can you demo some of the new fun buttons?
Yeah, like Monster.
Holy shit, I just crapped my pants.
Yeah. Man, are we?
I should have relabeled that button Satan.
Maybe I need to start sitting where I can see the door. What kind of people we letting in here on this show, man? I mean, what's going on?
So we got a fun show today. We have a guest, Emmitt from Level 6.
Yes.
L6.
Yeah,
oh,
great.
Well, then I should have done the push.
Oh man, you might need to make a daily appearance in the studio so we can get that kind of hype around our operation. But
That's awesome.
it's great to be here with you guys.
Now.
I still don't want to do them. Yeah, that's what you need for leg. Yeah. Don't skip
It's
leg
actually
day.
perfect. I think all my clients would agree with you. It's the dark force is the one directing leg day most of the time.
If you get a chance, YouTube Power Thirst. It's this fake commercial.
Okay.
And they're talking about how it just improves your performance and you'll have babies, 10,000 babies. It's just
Power thirst.
It's a good time. Anyway, I'm just getting off track, but
I'm excited to work out again. We haven't worked out in a while, Brandon. With my wife, I joined her on a diet because she went to a nutritional therapist and they put her on a strict diet and it was going to be strict. So I was like, I'll do it with you. So 6 weeks, it was like 4 ounces of lean protein, 4 ounces of fruit, 4 ounces of veggies twice a day. And we would try to work out and I would get lightheaded. I just couldn't, I didn't have enough in the tank to do nothing. So our workouts just turned into wandering around parks like old men. And even that was a lot. I was like stopping at a bench and be like, give me 20 minutes and a cigarette.
The gloves are starting to come into focus here.
But I came off it a couple of days ago and I'm feeling much better. And I realized the lightheadedness had nothing to do with the food. So what had happened was I dropped 30 pounds and I'm on blood pressure medicine because I got high blood pressure. And I took my blood pressure and it was 100/55.
wow. Yep, that'll do it.
That would certainly do it.
So I started cutting my pills in half. And I've been keeping track of it for a week, and then I'm going to go see the doctor and see if my dosage is right. And it wasn't even a big dosage, but my blood pressure was too low. That was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Apparently
bananas.
you lose 30 pounds and your blood pressure issues clear up pretty quick.
Well,
Yes.
how about
Yeah, that's awesome. And hopefully it's something where maybe you don't have to take that anymore at all.
Yeah, I mean, he told me originally it was the hereditary
original.
kind. He was like, you could be in marathon shape and you'd still be taking this stuff.
it's rarely the
Kind of
case.
deflating from the doctor.
But hey,
Yeah,
this
you're
is-
right, doctor. Why try?
Right.
This could be a good PSA, though, if you have significantly lost weight and you are on any kind of medication.
Yeah, I might want to keep track of it.
Yeah, check back with your doctor. See if anything needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild,
Especially
man.
if you're getting lightheaded during exertion.
No,
mean,
I was getting lightheaded,
Like
standing
walking.
up.
Yeah.
like living your life.
Living.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's definitely an opportunity to
Yeah.
check in and just
My physical activity was rated G for 6 weeks. It wasn't a lot going on.
you need to do the deep voice again and say rated R.
Yeah, now we're back, and it's going to be
This is my favorite. That's my favorite button.
That's awesome.
I'm so happy. Good stuff. We'll hit it again today. We'll actually pick up some heavy things and put it back down.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. So, Emmitt, back
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. I've learned a lot about Joe here today. This is great. Getting a lot of background.
So the name of your company is Level 6. And before I ask you what Level 6 means and why you got it, tell us about your personal journey, how you got into fitness and all that kind of stuff.
Of course. I'd love to. Fitness for me started at a really young age. I shared this story in a number of ways in some other outlets. For me, growing up, there was definitely a year during my development where I got, pretty out of shape and chubby as a young kid. And those pre-pubescent years where you're still trying to figure things out, and actually got bullied and picked on quite a bit at school for it. And it really began to open my eyes to the fact that what we eat, what we drink in what we do or what we don't do can greatly impact our physical body, our mental and emotional wellness, our levels of energy, even self-esteem. So it really started from a point of pain where I was getting, picked on and bullied, to understanding, wow, I've done this to myself in a lot of ways with the food choices that I'm making, or drinking things like soda, or hammering down breakfast cereals or bagels, and just not really understanding calories or having no concept whatsoever of food choices and decisions. And then I started to grow out of that as I hit puberty and started to work out and play sports more seriously. And so that kind of transitioned into wanting to learn more about nutrition so I could be a better athlete and be a better football player and recover and find a competitive advantage within being the best I could be and very disciplined when it comes to nutrition, where other people maybe weren't doing that in middle school, in even the early years of high school and so on. So it turned from like a point of pain to now trying to develop a competitive advantage. And then I started to get really into it, become very passionate with understanding food. I was reading nutrition labels, and this is even before we had a lot of the documentation and research we have now on these food additives and things that are being added and different ingredients. And really even before food companies were experimenting with bioengineered or even gluten-free wasn't even a thing at this point. Even that base of food and food availability has widely changed even since, I would say 10, 15 years ago now, when I really started to dive in. So my perspectives and opinions and thoughts on nutrition change rapidly. And I think at this point, even every day, I'm more in the camp of saying maybe to a lot of things instead of being certain that certain things are right, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I had the same experience, and we've talked about it on the show quite a bit. My first couple of years as trainer and nutrition coach, I was very dogmatic. And it's like, no, it has to be here. You have to eat 5 times a day, and you have to eat this way, and you have to eat Greek yogurt, and blah, 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 blah. And the older I got and the more research I'd done and the more experience I've had, the answer to most things were, it depends.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now I think every person on the planet should be eating different to some degree. And it should be specific to your body.
Specific to people's bodies. And I don't know if you can relate to this, and I'm sure you can, but it does depend, right, on the individual. And through thousands and thousands of conversations with clients, you have to begin to understand your knowledge has to meet people where they're at in order to help them change, because that's the outcome we all want as coaches and people that are guiding people in this way. And most people aren't ready for you to tee up this perfect nutrition strategy. They're just trying to get through the morning and make good decisions there, or wake up and string 3 days together of making a positive change in one area. So I've really distilled down, some of the tenets and principles that I've learned that I think are most important, and tried to help people start with slower changes that actually build lifestyle tools that they can apply to their routine. And it just, you start with this like beautiful, amazing plan, and it's dogmatic, and you're like insistent on this, that. And then I realized, wow, I'm really not reaching a lot of the people that I want. Some people are really taking to it. And then we got this 95% of people that they just can't get there.
That's too big of a start.
It is. It's a lot to take on.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I think there are some principles that do carry out for every person on the planet. I think, corn syrup's probably bad for every single person on the planet.
Would hasten to agree with you.
But as far as, can I have green? Can I have legumes? Can I have this, that, dairy? Everybody's different.
And everybody seems to have non-negotiables. It's like, I won't work with you if I can't have coffee or bourbon or whatever.
Bourbon comes up a lot. I'm not giving up my bourbon. Well, that's fine. You have 427 other fucked up things about your diet. Let's start there.
How do you guys handle the drinking from the fire hose thing? Because when you start, like you started very young, you said like middle school.
Yep.
And Brandon, you have educated yourself very well and become a personal trainer as well about everything nutrition. And when you don't really know, there's so much misinformation out there. One person says this is right. One person's keto's right. The next person, keto will kill you and give you cancer. The next person, it's all over the board. It's
that traumatic too.
And,
it is that traumatic.
And everybody seems to be like you guys are describing yourselves, in your younger days.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
dogmatic and 100% everybody else is idiots.
Yeah.
You're gonna make it, and all you gotta do is eat clover. Just some stupid nonsense.
And then you'll get a client who's allergic to clover.
Wheatgrass, Joe. It's wheatgrass.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, that's
juice
it.
wheatgrass.
But
That's
there's
it.
so much info. How do you start people? Is it like you were saying, Brandon, where it's like, all right, here's 3 simple things we're going to start here? Or is it more, let's figure out where you are and figure out like 3 things you can do better?
That thing.
Yeah.
So I do a comprehensive intake, but I said, look, we're going to ask all these questions and I'm going to suggest things, but you're not going to change them all at once. Because I used to just fire hose them. I distinctly remember a month where I did 32 new member consults at Lifetime. That's one a day. And I didn't close a single one because I was just, here's everything I know. Here's everything I know. And they were like, what the fuck? Get me out. They would look at their watch. They would look at the door. And it took me failing 30 something times in a row, at least from a sales perspective. I'm like, I'm not connecting with them. It was incredible information.
I'm sure it was pure gold too. That's the irony of it.
Yeah.
all.
I
It's
mean,
like,
it was,
But it's just too much.
it was just too much.
I'm going to fail at this.
So so I'll have, and we'll have you go in a minute, but I'll start with as little as, okay, you have these 100 things to work on, but why don't every time you go to Bojangles, because you're not ready to stop going to Bojangles, instead of drinking sweet tea every time, switch to unsweet or at least half and half. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but if they're drinking a large Bojangles sweet tea, it could be upwards of 120 grams of sugar. So even switching to half and half, that's 60 grams of sugar. That's 250 calories a day times 7 days a week. That's almost a pound a week just by switching to half and half, not even saying go cool. So for some people, that's the pace they need to move at. And other people are ready to dive in. They're ready to make massive change. But so you have to gauge that.
I imagine the person who's ready is going to do whatever you tell them.
Yeah.
And I mean, from at least my standpoint, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this as well, but that is the rarer client, the person who's ready to dive in with both feet. They're fully committed. They want all the information. And that's almost like a privilege to be able to work with people like that, because a lot of times, to give more context to Brandon's story, they're coming in and they're already so stressed and overwhelmed in other areas of their life, or they're just feeling pulled in many different directions. And you throw this kind of golden lifestyle map at them, and it's a perfect map, right? It'll get them exactly where they want to go, and it'll get them there fast and better and healthier. And the strain, it just takes them over the top, and then they feel defeated. So at least for me, I love that the suggestion of, and he broke down the math so neatly there, where it's, that's a huge shift. And people can start to lose pounds and pounds by just making that switch alone. And we do often meet with clients that do things like go to Bojangles on a daily basis and consume 120 grams of sugar in one serving, in one setting, in one beverage. And you're just like, that's where in some cases we are starting with people. So for me, I always have to start my nutrition consultations. I work with mostly women. I have to start with disclaiming, I'm not coming for your coffee creamer, and I'm not going to take away your wine. All right.
Yeah.
Those are the guys are bourbon and
Women are wine.
You can hear the gender differences there, but I often begin with that. And to Brandon's point too, it's like there are 800 other things we can address here that will get you to your goals without having to give those things up if you learn the kind of discipline element to focus on these other things. And so I usually start there, where it's like, oh, wow, I can actually keep that, because oftentimes they'll sit down and have had conversations with clinical registered nutritionists and RDs, registered dietitians, and that is off the table almost immediately in a lot of those settings.
Yeah.
And they get a cookie cutter plan that's not adjusted for them. And it's literally like they print out a sheet, slap it in front of them, and they're like, here you go.
Yeah.
And it's drink Slim Fast. In these weird
Or like the Atkins shakes with corn syrup in it.
there you go. And that is considered healthy and superior to what they're doing. And so it's just this weird disconnect where, and again, I know that you can't have comprehensive care in every medical setting, but I think in a lot of ways, the medically driven nutrition system, which was something I was originally after in a lot of ways through school and whatnot, I'd actually looked at being a registered dietitian in kind of a network hospital setting, because there was some money there at the time, but I became very quickly disenfranchised with that, because I was like, okay, here's what's ideal. Here's what we are ending up giving people. And there's just a huge gap there. And it just doesn't feel responsible to coach people that way.
And there's good ones out there too.
I know, and I don't mean to malign the entire community, but
sometimes there's government restrictions on the type of advice they can give, and they feel a little restrained. I've known dietitians leave and do like chiropractic and stuff because it gives them more possibility of what they can offer in terms of the regulations and things.
I wonder if stuff like Atkins and stuff started as like the medical version of what you guys are talking about. Certainly better than a Big Mac. Enjoy this tasty little milkshake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's a great marketing ploy. You could do like strengthen your spine with wine. New coming at L6.
Ooh.
Get all the ladies in.
Now, if there's
bourbon and burpees for Fire Within. That would just be disgusting.
Now, if you're slamming a bottle of wine a night, that could be problematic. So we might talk about moderation. And then if they have like thyroid issues, liver issues, it's
communion cup of wine at the end of the yoga session.
I've met with clients over the years that do consume a bottle of wine a night, and that is more common.
It came up on the last podcast you're on. I think it comes up all the time.
And again, ask these ladies, man. I'm telling you, it's more common than you would actually think, and it's more frequent than you would think.
You can run to Trader Joe's and get a bottle for $3.
Yeah.
The thing about alcohol, though, it is a neurotoxin. It is having an effect on our brain and cognitive ability, and it can have some long-term problems. So I think the more we can moderate it, the better. But I wouldn't want a world without alcohol. It's fun, man.
Exactly. It has its place. And again, to your point, it's finding that balance and that moderation that still fits into your goals, and you're treating it like you would anything else. You don't want to sit here and consume an entire pot of coffee by yourself either. There's levels and layers to it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Heroin's okay to consume.
That's where I got to run the disclaimer. Hold on, let me see where that is.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are not meant to be used as medical advice. Consult your doctor before implementing any health or exercise changes. The Fire Within encourages you to do your own research and aims to spark interest and motivation to a healthier lifestyle.
Maybe we should remove that from the show because I said that he's going to leave it in, you bastard. Oh my gosh. We're going to get canceled. Now, tell us a little bit about that, your exercise philosophy and all that jazz.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to unpack with that. Number one, I think the biggest thing that I see with a lot of fitness concepts, and not all of them, but especially like the big box gyms, is people are truly missing an element and a layer of intensity in their programming. And I'm not talking about intensity going hard and making yourself miserable all the time, but finding the proper amount. Yeah, I walk into occasionally, when I absolutely have to, a Planet Fitness, for example, and there's almost no intensity in the majority of those workouts. And again, the culture and the environment around there is centered around not creating an intense environment because that's considered
there's signs on the wall like if you grunt, you're out.
Exactly. So you're getting yourself to that level of exertion that may be required in some cases for change.
Yeah.
And that's frowned upon in that gym.
Yeah, but you get great Tootsie Pops or Tootsie Rolls.
On your way out,
yeah.
Hey, take some candy with you. That was a good workout. And they have pizza parties and what have you. But
Bagel Tuesday.
Yeah, I know. And that actually happens.
Yeah, it's a perfect system.
It's a perfect system. Keep coming back. You're not going to make any progress.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are not meant to be used as medical advice.
And I think that the requisite amount of intensity is lacking in a lot of what I see workouts being carried out. People will perform a set and then proceed to rest for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes because they're on their phone or on social media and they're sitting on a machine. And so unfortunately, they go and tell their friends when they're out at the bar that weekend, oh, I spent 4 hours at the gym this week. And it's, yes, you did. But 3.5 of those were on Instagram and TikTok, man.
Like I nailed it. 4 sets of 3.
Yeah, exactly. I know if
one exercise.
If you're doing powerlifting, like 1 rep max, then that would warrant that kind of rest. But we've already established 100%. It's not allowed.
Yeah, Planet Fitness, not a lot of powerlifters going there. At least
they don't even have the equipment unless you can do it on the one that's attached to the wall.
Right.
Yeah, you're out.
Yeah, no, and absolutely. Like you're doing that heavy maximal loading. You need those greater periods of rest. There's no question about it.
But that's not what's going on.
That's not at least from what I've seen. What's going on? And most of those guys, especially at that level of powerlifting, are pretty serious, so they time it out, they have it all planned. And yeah, I think in general, like that intensity element, I think is the first thing that I like to start off with my exercise philosophy.
I think my favorite Planet Fitness experience, this is off topic. I was doing
this is fun though.
I was doing some kind of core work on the floor and they were vacuuming and they insisted on vacuuming around my head. I'm like, what the fuck?
While you're
Got a job to do.
I'm like,
They're doing
seriously?
crunches and they're like, move your right ear.
Could you wait 3 minutes?
Gender.
But nobody's passionate about work. Anyway, maybe they are. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good intro job. And that's a great value, $10. Yeah, they give you
It's,
Keep that place
it's super
clean.
clean.
I'm sorry. I'm off topic.
No, it's funny. Dude, it's clean because nobody goes. That's why it's a ghost town in there.
So we've talked about intensity.
Sure.
How about injury prevention and corrective exercise and that
For
kind
sure.
of stuff?
Yeah, and I think all that has its place, especially when I work mostly now with general population, mostly. But I do also do quite a bit of performance training for youth athletes. And so talking about corrective exercise, you want to set those athletes up for the smallest amount of injury risk possible. And so a lot of our philosophy at level 6 with performance training is unilateral training. I think there's a lot of benefit in that, doing things that take those individuals out of a bilateral stance. We're not doing a ton of barbell back squat. We're not doing a ton of barbell deadlifts or trap bar. They're getting up on a box. They're performing single leg box squats. They're doing dynamic power work where they're, forced to use force acceleration and then controlled deceleration. So really teaching the body and the nervous system to prepare and achieve the proper joint angles, body angles to keep those athletes safe and healthy. And again, it's not, we can promise you'll never get injured. It's, we're going to give you the best chance of not through this type of training.
While
I think
working
that's got
towards
its-
your goals.
while gaining strength, while working towards your goals, getting fitter and able to move better on the court or the field. And then with our group fitness classes, we do quite a bit of scaling. So in terms of injury prevention and corrective exercise, we may have a client that can't move in the way they need to for a lot of the exercises. We'll offer tons of substitutions. We'll offer form correction, or sometimes we'll offer an entirely different set of exercises based on what their needs are. And our class sizes are to the point where we're able to do that even in a group setting, which is great. And I don't think people get a lot of it in a group fitness class. So
Yeah. Well, since we're already on that path, I'd love to learn more about level 6. Can you say level 6 in the deep voice?
Yeah, hold on.
Level 6.
is that the
I
chipmunk?
feel like I nailed it.
It nailed it. Nailed it. That's right on brand for us. On brand for us.
Sorry.
That's hilarious.
I know like every 10th episode I say this is my favorite episode. I think this is my favorite episode.
Strengthen your spine with line. Yes.
So,
Hey, we're that's a workshop idea,
Yeah.
Brandon, right there, man. I'm telling you.
Well, what if we got
Weekend
like
workshop.
what if we got like a sommelier do like a wine tasting after the workout? Because Lifetime used to
talking.
have this wine and cupcakes event. I swear to God.
Wow.
Yeah, you do yoga and then there's wine and or champagne and cupcakes. Something I don't know. It could be
Yeah.
fun.
Wine and Shavasana, that part of yoga where you just lay
Shavasana?
flat. Yeah, Shavasana.
Yeah, I
Toughest
call
workout ever.
I call chaturanga chimichanga. So
The
maybe we do-
chimichanga pose.
Yeah, so maybe we do
All my
like,
yogis out there.
Yeah, there we are.
Finally, a sustainable approach to meeting your health goals. The Fire Within app, available now on Apple and Android. What you get is an intro to strength training guide, comprehensive exercise library with over 200 exercises, a comprehensive nutrition health transformation course, a 6-week meal plan, over 70 recipes, a 6-week health redemption strength training course. This is for use with people with equipment, and then the same course modified for body weight exercises. You'll also receive a 6-week Inferno Abs Core supplemental program. If you download our free app right now, you'll get access to the podcast, exercise and app quick start, recipes, and more. For a $29.99 a month subscription, you'll get the health transformation course, full access to the exercise library, the weighted course, the body weight course, the Inferno Abs, recipes, and the podcast. So what are you waiting for? Try it now for free today. Download the Fire Within app.
Level 6. How'd you come up with the name? What's the overarching philosophy of the gym? What's your target? All those types of things.
Sure. Yeah, level 6 training is actually a 2-part name. So first and foremost, my middle name is 6. So SIX, just like the number.
Really?
And yeah,
Like
isn't it?
legit?
I'll show you my driver's license. Like it's 100%. It's my mom's last name.
Oh,
That's
that
where it
makes
comes
sense.
from.
Okay.
And on my mom's side, my grandfather, he's just been a very influential person in my life. He was actually an orphan, and he's really had to overcome a lot in his own life to get to where he was. And he was in the military and in Marine Corps for a number of years and played professional football and raised a family of 5 kids when he was really young. So he was able to go from being an orphan to doing some amazing things and then just be a man of great character and upstanding character. And so really in a lot of ways served as a role model for me in my younger years. Part of the Level 6 name is an attest to that. And then the other half is in traditional heart rate training, there are 5 cardiovascular zones. So the 6th level or the 6th zone is about ascending above what you believe you can do or what you're comfortable with. Because I think
It's the turn into 11.
right.
That's
Exactly
Spinal
right.
Tap. This
Crank
is
it to
Spinal
11,
Tap.
baby. That's the whole idea. And getting that intensity or getting to that level for people that's required for change involves ascending above what their beliefs are, what they can do, what they can handle, and what their kind of comfort zone or what their experience has been to that point. So it's like a 2-part name for Level 6. And
That's awesome that your middle name is actually 6.
Isn't
and
that
that's
crazy?
a family name.
No one can ever
Kinda
believe
like
it
Nikki
too.
Six. Isn't that like a rock star?
I bet that wasn't his real name.
But
but-
that's pretty cool.
I
Isn't
bet
that wild?
when you were younger as a teenager,
Yeah.
would people make fun of 6 as an adult that you can't get a cooler name?
Yeah, I grew up, man. People would just call me 6 in the hallways. Like my.
But even that sounds cool to me as an adult.
I know. Actually,
I wish
once I got older,
I wish my
it
nicknames
was
was 6.
It was kind of bad.
Like, what's up, 6?
Well,
I got
there's
your
a-
6.
There's a restaurant
Right.
and bar owner named 7.
Oh,
really?
Super nice guy.
That's cool, man.
Let's plug them. They're awesome.
Dude, let's do
So
it.
Brewster's Pub in Cary, right off of
Okay.
64. That place is awesome.
Okay, I'm going to check them
Yeah.
out, man.
Wings are good. Trivia night on Wednesdays. They got
dude.
darts. They got pool tables. It's a good time.
Dude, I could say 6 goes to 7, man. Come on, like, let's go.
If you could find an 8 and 9, you could make that elementary joke.
Yeah, why
Right.
6?
Why is
scares
6
us.
afraid of 7?
7, 8, 9.
That's actually
So you guys, what fitness classes are people most interested in, and what do you think is the ideal size for a fitness class?
Right now, I think there's a lot of conversation out there about HIIT training, which is primarily what we do at Level 6. It's functionally based. It's free weight. We don't use a lot of machines. We want the body to move the way it is. And in terms of just reaching people in that group setting, there is a sweet spot. You don't want to get classes of 30, 40, 50 people at once because you can't address all the needs in the room. We cap our classes at
It's
a
really
certain
easy to
level.
hide in that level of class too. Like I've been at classes with 50 people, and you can just hang out in the back with your
Hanging.
towel. Like, you guys go. You
guys
guys
got
are
it.
doing it.
Yeah, that's right. And you're cheering them
Just
on, which
sitting in the-
is great.
Sitting in the back smoking a cigarette.
But maybe not getting, maybe not in a group fitness class. Wow. Wow. Now I've heard it all.
It's clove. It's okay.
Really opens up the airways, actually.
Great for the lungs.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are not.
So we do cap our classes just to give more of that personal attention to detail, make sure form is right. And again, to your point about reducing risk of injury, it's important. You need to have attentiveness. You need to make sure things are right, and you don't increase load until things are doing anatomically what they should be doing. And a lot of people don't have that body awareness or that coordination needed. So just keeping good supervision on most folks until they're ready to increase that load and resistance. So I would say probably 10 to 15 people is probably an optimal size where you can still address all the needs in the room. You get that group energy, which is so fun. And I think that's one of the most appealing things about a group fitness format is you're in there with other people that want the same thing. So there is a sweet spot.
On the last podcast you were a guest on,
Yeah.
Tar Life, you mentioned that you do try to recruit people as like friend groups. If you got 5 or 6 friends, you guys should train together and do I think that's such a cool idea.
100%, man. And then what you've pre-qualified in that and why I think that's so important, other than the fun that they have when they go together, is now you have accountability with your friends.
All working towards the same goal.
All working towards the same goal. You're going to the same place at the same time. It gives you something that's a part of your routine that you do with your friends. It's very powerful. And I've seen it change friend groups. I've seen it change entire friend groups. I've seen people expand the friend group. Like
This is really important because we've talked about on the show how influenced you are by the 5 people you hang out with the most. So if
In this
they're
case, 6. Let's keep it on brand.
that's right, level 6. Level.
Do it again. Come on, you gotta do it. You gotta do it.
I don't have 6 friends.
Oh, that's so sad, Joe.
He's a sad man.
So I
Some
think
vulnerability for the monster.
so we do get influenced by other people, and if your friend group are into having fried food and drink beer more often than not, then that's going to influence you. But if you're all excited about working out and making improvements in your health and doing it together and having a good time, and working out can be super fun in a group, yeah, it makes a big difference.
I think for me, I'm fortunate enough to have Brandon as a personal trainer. I know not a lot of people get to have personal trainers, but the accountability factor is huge. The trainer won't let you quit. And I think for a lot of people that might not be able to have that, a transition like working out with a group of friends provides that benefit, right? If you're working out with a group of friends, they're not going to let you skip because whatever.
No.
The new season of your show shipped and you're taking a binge day.
And you nailed it right on the head. And what we are happy to do and what we're blessed to do is have that kind of community where I know for a fact people, this happened even yesterday at the Level 6 studio, people are checking in with friends they don't see show up to class. And it is literally like an accountability measure of like, well, where is she today? And why is she not here? And okay, cool. They're on travel. So they're very acutely aware of things that are going on in those people's lives in terms of, and again, it's a benefit for everyone involved. So it's a beautiful thing to see it happen because it doesn't have to come from me as the coach. It's like they are buying in and they're selling themselves on themselves, which is awesome. So they're bought into the point where they're participating actively in that community and they're missing less workouts as a result. And they're excited. I say that. I'm sure sometimes they dread it in a state where they're ready to come back regardless and they still get it done.
Now, do you have just equipment and you just let people come in for a rate?
Like open gym?
Yeah, so we actually don't offer open gym. We're really excited about the fact that we are a private studio. So people are either working with their one-on-one trainer, a small group, which is more barbell-based, strength-based, weightlifting with some GPP and some conditioning.
What's GPP?
General physical preparation.
Ah.
So that's just like prowler sled work. We got echo bikes. We have heavy sandbags. We do some strongman style training and stuff like that.
Prowlers will fuck you up.
Oh my gosh.
They're
the prowler
amazing.
flu is real. The power.
Oh,
Oh
man.
man. Yes.
I remember I did one and I was so smoked, all my muscles started to burn, and then I was done. I don't know if
You
it was-
redlined.
Yeah, I redlined. It was insane. I was done for the day. Like one prowler, it was nuts.
They're humbling too, because
Yeah.
you could be in the middle of that set and your legs are burning. You're feeling in the strain, but you're feeling okay. And then you finish, and about 10 seconds later, your heart rate spikes because your physiology's catching up to what you just did. And yeah, you redline, you get the prowler flu, and next thing
it's brutal.
you're sitting at home binge watching because that's all you can do. You're recovering. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I was toast. To explain what a prowler is.
So yeah, prowler is a great low impact. I say low impact, but you can really load it up with weight. It is essentially a steel sled that you can load resistance weight on and push across turf or even in some cases concrete like a back alley, depending on the gym that you're in. And it is awesome because it's a sliding resistance that doesn't change, but it's also very low impact on the joints where you're not hitting the pavement, you're not pounding on a treadmill or going out and running. And provides a great cardiovascular benefit, but also an awesome strength benefit. You can load that thing up. I get my athletes on there. They do 300-400 pounds at times, or you can lighten up the weight and do sprints and really smoke your legs out. So I love it. It's versatile. It is a true killer. It's something
Somebody figured out how to make the gym equivalent of helping a friend move. It sounds.
Maybe that's how it started too. They put a sofa on like a pallet and they're like, man, wouldn't this suck if you just had to do this every day? Yeah. That's where Rogue got the idea, I'm sure.
Sounds like I'm down with GPP. I like the idea though of not having an open gym. I think the thing that I like about that is that there's no like gimmicky, just give me your monthly, I don't even care if you come sales approach.
Right.
You know, it's like when you're here, work out with a plan.
Or a meathead on the squat rack for 4.5 hours with 3 duffel bags.
And the phone and the over-ear headphones that are all charged up so you can't hear anybody. And so we really do pride ourselves in that private studio feel because we want that environment that you guys alluded to. If people are here, they're here to work. They're with an expert at all times. It's all supervised. And I think it just gives us that exclusive feel that you wouldn't get at a normal run-of-the-mill, so to speak, gym.
Yeah. I think we've all been there and gone to a regular gym
Oh yeah,
and just like
been in
pretend
plenty.
to work out
Yeah,
so that you can sit in the sauna.
oh yeah.
I like the sauna.
You just described my vacation workout perfectly. All right, 10 minutes here. Okay, I'm doing some curls. Sauna time.
Yeah.
But I do love sauna. I think that's a great modality for recovery and just, oh God, I love it.
Would you add that to the gym at some point?
God,
Yeah.
you know what? I hadn't thought about that until you just said that now on
The
air. but-
infrareds, you can get one for $2,000.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's more cost effective than I would have thought. That would be something we'd love to add. I just have to rack my brains on where we would put it
Yeah,
because our space is pretty well spoken for at this point. But
yeah.
man, if we could add something like that into our repertoire, we would. Wow.
I've looked at cold plunges. I think that'd be fun.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can literally.
What are those? I was going to say, what are those? Yeah. What do those run?
I can't remember. I think it's
Okay.
like $10,000. I would
Okay.
worry about what is the insurance policy to
Oh,
offer
shoot. Yeah.
someone
Yeah. You get hypothermia at Brandon's gym, like,
heart
right?
attack or
Yeah.
something. But
Yeah. Because you're putting a massive
yeah.
stress.
But
I've never done it, but it looks frightening. Have you seen the Kevin Hart show? He does an
Uh-uh.
interview
Oh,
show
did he do
in an
it?
ice bath.
oh man,
Kevin Hart's doing the ice baths now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now, I
man.
used to do them when I was a marathon runner, and
Okay.
it's freaking magic. Like, I could be destroyed from like a 20 miler. I get out of that tub, I feel like Superman. It's
Whoa.
insane. It works.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable, and it takes me like 3 days to find my penis again.
Of course.
But
Shrivel actions. Just,
yeah, turtle.
Yeah.
And
I was in the pool. The pool was cold.
It's cold water.
but no, there's tons and tons of benefits of it.
Cold therapy, I think, is highly beneficial. I've had some limited experience with it as an athlete, too. We had cold tubs in our training room. And so I'd hop in there during team camp when we were doing 2-a-days. And it really is, to your point, like magic. The body, you get out of there. Number one, you can't feel your legs, so you don't know if you're sore or not. It does kickstart that circulatory process. It starts to get down some of those secondary measures of inflammation and can really be long-term benefit, especially for athletes or people who are working out with a lot of frequency and need faster recovery.
And there are contraindications too, where it might
Of
not be a
course.
good idea for you. But for most people, I think it's probably good
Yeah.
idea. Unfortunately, we're almost out of time. We're going to have you come by and put in an application to be a co-host. And
Where do I sign? Is it on the back of this coffee mug Joe handed me?
Yeah, the,
Yes,
third, the,
this
third time,
gloves.
the third time you're a guest, you get your own voice effects.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's,
all right.
what's
It's something I
It's
can
like a
earn.
punch card system.
so Joe gave us these coffee mugs, or Jimmy
Yeah, what's
Buffett,
going on with these?
and woman to blame, and mine says my own damn fault.
Yeah, it's
And-
from the song.
Yeah, and some people claim that there's a woman to blame. I'll stick to training. not
Sorry,
singing.
Jimmy. Sorry,
But I
Jimmy,
know.
if you're out there.
But but I always ask every guest the one final question: where do babies come from?
You have a son,
I
Brandon.
need a straight answer. No bull.
Um,
No bull. Tell me what it
so-
really happens.
But in all seriousness,
Yeah.
if somebody's looking to make a health and fitness change, what are the top 3 things you would have them do?
The top 3. Number 1 is movement.
Yep.
Number 1 for me, because I think, especially in American society, we have gravitated towards sedentary. And I think the pandemic and these lovely pieces of technology we carry with us everywhere have really even redlined that effect to where we're probably now more sedentary than ever. We have convenience, we have ease, we have apps for everything. So number 1 is movement daily. And it doesn't have to be GPP workout. It doesn't have to be a prowler sled. Go out in the park and walk for 10 minutes. Wait for it to warm up. Don't do it at, 4 a.m. in North Carolina in early spring. Get out there, move your body, stretch, do some yoga, call up a YouTube video. It really doesn't matter. Even if it's not level 6 or if it's not Fire Within or personal training, I think that's step 1. Secondly, find some way to, I say eat responsibly, which is funny.
like,
But-
like the end of the
It's-
liquor commercial.
I know, right? Can we put a disclaimer in there? But it's only because I think so many people get carried away with their caloric intake that is completely devoid of micronutrients, minerals, like the things that our body actually needs.
Food.
So yeah, like real food where we have this high calorie intake and Brandon had mentioned Bojangles and not to pick on them, but like you could slam a large sweet tea, an order of fried chicken and a biscuit and be 2,000 calories plus in and have no vitamins or minerals at all in that or fiber in that entire meal, right?
Unless you eat the cup, that's fibers.
Oh shoot, I didn't think about that. That's right. You could. That's
No, there's styrofoam
a
there.
goat.
Bojangles styrofoam.
that would be insoluble fiber right there. Yeah, exactly. That's our nutrition tip of the day. Eat the
Eat the cup.
It's better to eat the cup at McDonald's.
To be honest, that might be the healthiest thing on the McDonald's menu. Honestly, it's been untainted. But so yeah, eat in a responsible way, eat in a responsible way, and then find some semblance of like rest and recovery. And I say that not necessarily recovering from movement or exercise necessarily, but recovering from just life, like more like a stress reduction modality or getting quality sleep. And so you're energized to get up and take on your day. So I would start with that. Move, eat responsibly, and then find some semblance of rest or recovery to build it into your routine. Those are probably my top 3.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate you coming on and your insight. If people wanted to find you, your gym, your website, your contact, what is all that stuff?
Sure. So you can find us at level6training.com. That's level 6, just like the number, training.com. On Instagram, we're at level6training. On Instagram, I'm at trainwithe6. So there's a lot of ways to reach out, connect, and I'm always happy to answer questions or have conversations.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Hobo Joe.
Yeah. He's a great podcast producer, by the way. If you need him, Hobo Joe, look him up.
You can find me at HoboJoe6 on Instagram. I have no idea what that is. You probably shouldn't Google
probably
it.
don't look that one up.
Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you got a lot of value out of today's episode. If you did, go check us out at firewithinnf.com and sign up for Refuel, a weekly email with recipes, videos, and tips to stoke the fire within. Also, you can join the Fire Within community by being added to our Facebook group, and don't forget to follow us on social media.